Mack Ave Community Church, we're trying to ask ourselves a question: what is allowing us to empower our people to live a life where they are honoring Christ and loving their neighbors?
Mack Avenue to me is a community of believers on mission for Jesus in Detroit, a city that many have forgotten, left, and just is in despair in many ways.
And Lord, what does it look like for me to live the gospel? What does it look like for me to find a rhythm where I'm enjoying the Lord and where my life is I'm proclaiming Christ through my everyday actions? And so we see that often in our community where we're just, in fact, we almost didn't have service because in Mack Ave Community Church, we're trying to ask ourselves a question: what is allowing us to empower our people to live a life where they are honoring Christ and loving their neighbors?
Neighboring is difficult without that commitment piece and saying, no, I'm going to stay here. So coming into this community, neighboring, moving in, sharing all of yourself with your neighbors, you know, your joys, your pain, your sorrows, you know, sharing meals with them, sharing, you know, in some sense, not just your time, but your family, your kids. Really, what you shouldn't be holding back from pouring into somebody is your neighbor.
Being part of this community and part of Mack Avenue Community Church has just allowed me to see the gospel in completely new ways and just living out the gospel in my everyday life and school and career, but almost in a new way. I've just seen what it looks like to neighbor, what it looks like to do life with people, and how that's so crucial to sharing the gospel, to seeing transformation where we're at.
And we really are willing to take away sort of this mindset that really comes out of my greed or out of my selfishness of wanting a big church and wanting to be known. And so what we've done, you watch people, we are very serious about in our discipleship relationships, making sure people are experiencing a rhythm where they're learning how to engage people, how to invite people over. And we just tell people, like, just neighbor. Don't feel like you have to fill in holes and do this and do that. Ask the Lord to give you an opportunity to build relationships based on just living a life in Christ. And what's happened is we're just seeing that. We're seeing people just, you know, walking to the dairy down the street on Mack and just learning to connect with people.
Loving your neighbor, as Jesus said, is doing life with people, is talking to them as you come home and as you leave, as you share meals together, and yeah, we're still learning what exactly that means to neighbor well, to love our neighbors.
People often wonder, why do people want to stay here? Why do people come here to serve? And then why are people leaving? Like, what's going on here? And I'm convinced on a couple levels that people come and stay because of the cost. And it seems that for whatever reason, and we tell people, you know, we have a lot of crazy stuff going on here in our local body, but we're serious about the gospel. And at Mack Ave, I think people experience life change. They experience the reality of the gospel. They experience that that we take God at His word. And so what happens is they come here, and sadly, I think you begin to see and experience true biblical community where people are pouring into each other, where people are absolutely dedicated to each other.
Also, the community is just a vital part of my own growth that it definitely cannot happen in isolation or in even just on a Sunday. It's just, the gospel is just so holistic, and I think that's totally changed my perception of how to do life.
At Mack Ave Community Church, I've been blown away at the community of faith who say, hey, we're all different, we all have different flows, we're all crazy in different ways, but we're all committed to Jesus. We all have a mission where we want to bring honor and attention to God, and we all have a vision where we want to see discipleship be our pillar, and we want to see lives be changed here, and we want to live a life that honors Christ, that's free, but that's under the servantship of Jesus. And when you're around an environment like that, where everyone is saying, how do we serve? How do we grow? How do we walk with the Lord? And how do we do this with integrity? You have no option but to grow and experience what does it mean to worship Jesus.